I'm not sure what anyone really truthfully expected here, guys. Right? It would be amazing if we can actually stop this kerfuffle that's happening out there in the Ukraine. Absolutely, it would be great. It would be great for us to stop having to specifically send money over there, et cetera, et cetera. Specifically, with no real benefit to us, at least, and no real threat to us neither. So here's the thing: we have references, like historical references, that we can kind of point out, referring to why it may be a little bit hard to deal with someone who is, heavily involved and entwined, let's say, with the cloak and dagger based organization known as the KGB. Like, what exactly are we expecting here? Right? Whatever they say out loud, they mean the literal opposite. They're going to say whatever you want to say, right? Whatever you want them to say, let's say, guys. Let's see where this goes here, guys. Trump shocked by Putin. He's going absolutely crazy. Let's check it out. This is a suggestion via Discord, guys.
We go to Lucas Tomlinson, who joins us live at the White House for more on the president's reaction to Putin's aggression. Lucas.
Here we go.
Good morning, Julian. Last night, Ukraine's president says Russia launched its largest drone attack of the war, and President Trump now told reporters he's considering sanctioning Russia.
Yeah.
You've talked before about putting more sanctions on Russia. Is that something you're considering more seriously?
Absolutely. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that.
And according to The Economist, Russia is now mass producing those drones. What once took a month to crank out, it now takes less than 3 days, thanks to help from China and Iran. And NATO Secretary General says Russia now makes 3 times more artillery rounds than the entire U.S. and European continent combined. And after the bombardment of Ukraine this weekend, Trump went further when he returned to the White House last night, posting on Truth Social, "I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people."
Absolutely.
Not just talking about soldiers.
There's something wrong
And
here,
he turned
guys.
his attention on Zelensky, saying likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does.
And I have said this, right? Like, listen, bro, there's nothing that you yourself and your country can do to stop this overwhelming force from coming in. All right, you can't. I get it. You want to come with all this bravado and patriotism. I respect it, but unfortunately, you have no ability to actually back it up. So I do think that you should probably calm your mouth down a little bit.
That drew a rebuke from Republican Congressman Don Bacon, a former Air Force general, who said in a statement, "The first half of this message is perfect. The rest is dumb. Trump is attacking President Zelensky while Putin bombs Ukrainian cities, and it is misguided. Moral ambiguity while one nation invades another is hurting Trump's credibility. Putin is making a mockery of Trump, and Trump keeps attacking Zelensky." And during recent talks in Istanbul, a Russian diplomat told his Ukrainian counterpart Russia's in this for the long haul and reminded him that Russia fought a 21-year war against Sweden. That war ended in 1721, Julie.
Lucas Tomlinson, thank you so much. Bill.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Putin's not going to stop until he basically takes exactly what he wants, right? He wants the world to basically recognize that he owns, let's say, Crimea now. But the problem is that, bro, that's not going to happen. Not how you think it is. I mean, the world has changed since the 1700s. Let's just say here, guys, it massively changed. The concept of like colonialization is an absolute stain these days. Okay. But all right.
Well, Julie, at least 12 people were killed in that huge air attack after Russia fired hundreds of drones and missiles at Ukraine in the middle of these negotiations. It all happened hours before both sides completed a major prisoner swap, exchanging 1,000 people on each side. Alex Hogan is joining us live following the story for us.
This is just crazy, bro.
Hi, Bill. Ukraine is reporting a record-breaking number of aerial attacks from Russia, once again citing that this was the largest drone attack since Russia's full-scale invasion began in 2022. So the Ukrainian Air Force says as many as 355 drones were fired just today, and it follows nearly 300 Russian drones that had been launched the night before. Authorities say 12 people died in the attacks, including children, and dozens of others were injured. The neighboring countries exchanging attacks and the largest prisoner swap in their 3 years of war. The countries traded more than 1,000 soldiers, roughly 300 on Friday, Saturday, and again on Sunday, as tearful families welcomed them home.
Bro, I'm surprised that this region, like specifically during this, like Putin just didn't come in with a show of absolute ridiculousness and injure everybody. That's the type of person I truthfully believe that he is.
Despite this rare moment of cooperation, the violence continues on both sides this week. Russia says its forces shot down 128 Ukrainian drones today over 12 regions. Following President Donald Trump's comments last night, Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov today said that Russia is grateful to President Trump for his assistance in organizing and launching this negotiation process.
Bro, come on.
Meantime, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says that Russia is acting with a complete sense of impunity and that these new attacks need to be met with new sanctions.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, again, who's going to stop them? Like, if the moment we step in, it's WW3. Like, you understand that we don't really want to risk WW3 for, for any other reason but ourselves, let's say. So I just can't imagine here, guys. Yeah, Russia is not afraid of you at all. They're basically poking the bear. They're waiting for Russia and China to come together and say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do something terrible to everybody. That's the type of vibe that I'm getting from like all of this here. Putin knows specifically you can't do anything to stop him. All right, and if we do anything to stop him, then it's WW3. All right, you're playing the game right now, bro.
Bill.
Zelensky.
Alex Hogan live in London for us this morning. Alex, thanks. Julie?
For more on this, let's bring in Fox News contributor Dan Hoffman, a former CIA chief of station. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Thanks. Good to see you.
Great to see you. So, first of all, President Trump has very strong words for Vladimir Putin, and he does make mention of the fact that he's known the guy a very long time, yet he's surprised by Vladimir Putin's actions. Vladimir Putin is a different man, perhaps, president, than he was in President Trump's first term, and he seems that he will not be held back by this president when it comes to attacking Ukraine. Why haven't the stronger sanctions, do you believe, why haven't they gone into place, and how urgent do you think that needs to happen to prevent further attacks?
Well, I think President Trump has said that he was holding back on implementing those sanctions to give diplomacy a chance. Secretary Rubio,
there was never any
testifying
diplomacy,
last week, spoke to that effect as well. What I would emphasize here is that Vladimir Putin is acting rationally. I'd encourage President Trump. I'm sure he's talking to Director of CIA John Ratcliffe, and I'm sure he can get a leadership profile of Vladimir Putin. For Putin, Ukraine is an existential threat, not because Ukraine represents a military threat to Russia, but because what scares Putin the most is democracy. He could never allow a country like Ukraine with a sizable Russian-speaking population to build a democracy and enjoy commercial ties and strategic ties to the West, to Europe and the United States.
Yeah, no, absolutely. What would you advise the president to do next? And what message can he give to Zelensky? Because he does say that Zelensky's words are not helping the measure.
They're not. They're never
It's great
conducive.
that they've agreed on this 1,000 prisoner swap, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we've got a peace deal on the table. I mean, Zelensky agreed to the 30 days, but Putin is not agreeing to a peace deal unless Zelensky gives what Putin what Putin wants.
It's impossible.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. I think if you look back at Vladimir Putin's history, it's pretty violent. His term as president over roughly 25 years ago began with launching a war on Chechnya. He has launched massive cyber attacks on the United States, including solar winds during President Trump's first term, invaded Georgia, continues illegally to occupy parts of Georgia. And, of course, this war on Ukraine, which essentially began in 2014 when Russia illegally annexed Crimea. So the key to dealing with Russia, I would argue, is leverage. And we have some leverage, economic leverage and military leverage. And the question for the United States is whether we pursue those secondary sanctions that Senator Lindsey Graham has warmed up in the bullpen, ready to go, and whether we provide Ukraine with additional military arms to defend themselves, air defense, as well as offensive weapons.
Here's President Trump saying that he is absolutely considering Russia sanctions. Let's watch.
And you mentioned you're unhappy with President Putin. You've talked before about putting more sanctions on Russia. Is that something you're considering more through?
Absolutely. He's killing a lot of people. I don't know what's wrong with him. What the hell happened to him, right? He's killing a lot of people. I'm not happy about that.
No one would be happy
And
about
speaking
that.
of talks, okay, so you've got talks with the president and Putin not necessarily going well, but President Trump says that his talks on Iran are going well. Let's listen to that, and I'll have your reaction.
Very importantly, we had some very good talks with Iran yesterday and today, and let's see what happens. But I think we could have some good news on the Iran front having to do with nuclear. We've had some very, very good talks with Iran, and I don't know if I'll be telling you anything good or bad over the next 2 days, but I have a feeling I might be telling you something good. We've had some real progress, serious progress.
Okay.
Dan, now my question to you is, do you think that progress possibly means to get Iran to stop fueling the war on terror when it comes to the Houthis, to Hezbollah, to Hamas? I mean, that's where Iran needs to reel it in, especially when it comes to their weapons development program.
That would be amazing if that was a thing.
Right. We haven't quite got to that level of negotiation yet.
No.
We're still kind of stuck on the fact that Iran is a nuclear threshold state. Iran wants to be able to enrich uranium.
Yep.
According to their foreign ministry this morning, Iran is saying that's a red line, that they won't even agree to a 3-year hiatus where they would not agree to enrich uranium. For the United States, that's our chief demand. So we're kind of at loggerheads on that one, and we haven't gotten to Iran's ballistic missile program or their support to proxy terrorists. This is going to be a wickedly complex challenge for the United States as we continue to deal with the war in Gaza, which is linked up with the Iranian nuclear program, negotiating a way forward there.
Okay, guys. Okay. Interesting. Now, in terms of Iran, guys, it would be amazing if we could actually stop all of the funding, let's say, to the big bad guys. That'd be great if we could figure that out, right? I mean, do they specifically need the nuclears, guys? Not really. I mean, if you're going to utilize it for some type of power or something like that, then we can have a conversation, but it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. They just basically want to wipe Israel off the map, basically. I think that's just the end game for that scenario here. Now, it's interesting, though. So earlier in the video itself, they kind of spoke about how Trump said how about this? His tone was one way when it came to Putin, and then his tone was absolutely hostile when it came to Zelensky. Here's the thing: I'll tell you this right now. At what time have you seen Putin publicly or in Trump's face specifically disrespect him? Right? So when did you see that? We can definitely pull the video up right now of Zelensky talking crazy in the White House, in the Oval Office to Trump. Now, that in itself is most likely why he strongly detests Putin. Not Putin. Zelensky, guys. Most likely. That's why he talks the way he talks. And also at the same time, Zelensky is, in fact, poking the bear. Bro, you are... I get it. He's trying to depict himself as super tough in an unwinnable situation, right? But this is not working, bro. It's not working. We need to figure out another way to communicate. Okay, we're gonna have to, because the more you talk crazy to this guy who is not stopping, he's not going to stop, bro. Right? The worse things are gonna get and continue getting, bro. I think Putin is excessively petty, bro. Right? But either way, guys, listen. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. In the meantime, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. I'll catch you guys later.